All right, so last lesson we looked at physiological methods to study consciousness. Today we are looking at the other 3 methods to study consciousness. And our first is measurement of performance on cognitive tasks. So this refers to our study of psychological and behavioral responses during different states of consciousness. So we're no longer measuring what's physically happening, but more so what behaviors we're seeing and the actual goings on inside the brain in terms of thought. And we can use both objective and subjective measures. So just a reminder, objective is measures that do not involve personal opinion or interpretation. So you can be objective about it. Subjective is measures that do involve personal opinion or interpretation. So subjective, it's personal to the subject. So looking at objective measures of cognitive tasks, the 2 most common ones used are speed and accuracy of response. So measurement of speed typically involves response or reaction time to a stimulus. So in other words, how quickly you respond or react to something going on. Measurement of accuracy typically involves the number of correct responses and incorrect responses or errors made by an individual. So in other words, how many you are actually going to get right when you do that activity. And examples used often are driving simulators and word jumbles. So driving simulator is an interesting one because a lot of these measures have shown that people who are particularly tired drive with the same error rate or the same measurement of accuracy as someone who is drunk. And similarly, their speed of response and their speed of reaction time is also similar to that of someone who is drunk. So someone who registers a blood alcohol over 0.05. So driving tired is like driving drunk. Our next one are self-reports. And these are a subjective method of measuring consciousness, so they're personal. And because they're subjective, they're biased and often greatly vary from person to person and day to day. So they're not always 100% accurate, but they give us information that we can't get from objective measures. And the most common self-report used is a sleep diary. So the sleep diary is a log used to record and report your sleep and wake time activities over a period of time. We often use them in conjunction with EMGs and EEGs, and this helps us work out what's going on to cause a sleep disturbance or sleep disorder. So often these diaries have things like what time the person was trying to fall asleep, what time they believe they fell asleep, the number of awakenings they had, how many they had, what time they went for, and what time they occurred, what time they believe they woke up in the morning, how rested they feel, and then how sleepy they're feeling during the day. So whether they're actually getting a good quality of sleep. And our last one is video monitoring. Video monitoring is the use of video cameras to record externally observable physiological responses throughout a sleep episode. Hopefully you've worked out by now that this is an objective measure. And they're used to identify sleep disturbances and disorders. So looking at changes in posture and body position, the amount of tossing and turning, sleep-related breathing issues. You may have heard of these before as sleep apnea. So some people will stop breathing in their sleep. And post-nightmare or night terror behavior. So what happens when they're having a nightmare, when they wake up from it, if they're waking up from it. So night terror often involves, for example, a screaming episode. And then sleepwalking behaviors. So people who do sleepwalk, what are they doing? Are they just getting up out of bed? Are they just sitting up? Some people will sleep with their eyes open when that occurs. Right, can you have a go at learning activity 8.10?